This is the Fantasy Football Game Plan, where we talk about fantasy football and the NFL.
This was a week to get like sort of all the bad luck at the same time. And so I feel really good about that. I needed that to happen. So not only was I feeling crappy and staying home and watching football, but the football did not work out very well for me. And I had Brady on a bye, and I only needed to play Zach Wilson one game. And last time, I didn't think he would do well against the Patriots, but the last time he played them, he had 20 points. So I didn't see anything better on the waiver wire. So I played Zach Wilson. I mean, obviously I lost. I had Mixon. He went out with a concussion. And yeah, it kind of went like that for me. I had Josh Palmer on my bench, but that's okay. I'm still in contention. How did you do?
I won again.
Yes.
You're like more excited. You're more excited than I am.
Yeah, well, no, but seriously, it's really hard to have a great record. Like, what are you now? Like 9-2?
8-2, maybe 9-2. What am I?
I think we've had 11 weeks, so I'm gonna say you're 9-2.
Yeah, 9-2, I guess. Yeah. I didn't look today at my standings because I knew I won because I won by like 50 points. Yeah, 9-2.
That's impressive.
Going in. Yeah. And what I want to talk about, especially as we're in week 11, is that
going into 12
is that you're going to look at the players that we talk about today, and a lot of these players are probably already snagged up because without people being on IR or it's really crucial what I'm saying to really pay attention and have your ears to the ground in the first 10 weeks of the season, because now when it's crunch time, and if you need a player like last week you suggested Samaje Perine from Cincinnati, yeah, and that was just because of Mixon. I suggested Darrell Hilliard because maybe the run focused Tennessee Derrick Henry would also suffer something. So who knows? All I'm saying is that these predicaments that we're saying or bench stashes, because they could hurt you, and if you're trying to fight for a playoff spot like you are, then it's going to be it's a very tough road from now to the end of the season to get into that.
Yeah, well, I did follow my own good advice. Weeks ago, I picked up Perine because I realized if Mixon ever went down, that Perine would get all of the touches. So the only thing for me coming up this week is he going to be healthy and they're going to split the carries? In which case, do I start both? Hopefully they just give Mixon a week off, let him get better. Give Perine the start. That it'd be a lot easier to figure out what to do in that case. In terms of playing one or the other, it's hard to know if they're both available for the game. It's going to be tough to figure out, I think.
Yeah, well, the NFL will probably do at least 7 days, so Mixon will be out.
Yeah, and Dontrell Hilliard scored a touchdown last week. So between those two guys, that was 4 touchdowns. And we were just sort of suggesting guys that might be good to put on your roster just in case.
I think the reason is that we saw who are run focused, and then making sure that you had the power backs backup. So if a person was running 25 times, go get his backup. Pretty much was what we were saying. And Mixon was carrying the ball, and same with Tennessee. So
well, those turned out to both be good suggestions, so I'm real happy about that. As for trying to find somebody, I mean, Zach Wilson, I can't even. I only needed him for one start. I don't know if they'll just cut him midway through the week or if they'll keep starting him and just watch their team's chances go down the toilet. I don't know. I was looking at the waiver wire for QBs last week and didn't really find anything good. Doing it again this week, the one name that always comes up is Taylor Heineke because he's available in a lot of leagues. You have anybody at QB that you would think would be a good start?
Ryan Tannehill.
Okay.
I think coming back from injury, he doesn't have world-class receivers to throw to, but they will increase the throwing game. He will be able to get you your 20 points needed in the QB. So if you're desperate and you need, who's on bye this week anyways?
Nobody. This is a really weird week. Buys are not over, but I guess because it's Thanksgiving week, they figured they want to get all the TV ratings.
There you go. So every quarterback is playing. Yeah, we've talked about Taylor Haneke in the past, and the head coach Ron Rivera has made him the number one starter instead of Wentz. So it's a guarantee you will get good points off of him too. But this is only in desperate need. There's better quarterbacks out there. There should be actually your starting roster. But in case you're in a bye, I think Ryan Tannehill or Taylor Haneke should be someone to consider.
Okay, those are your QB suggestions. There's not a lot out there. Let's go to running backs.
Running backs.
Okay.
We've been talking about the slim pickings in running backs since like week 2.
Well, it's true. And, I've been harping on Pacheco, Isaiah Pacheco from Kansas City for a while. This week, that was a 3-way split, that backfield. Now Clyde Edwards-Helaire has actually got an injury. He's going on IR. So there's only the 2 guys now. So probably in most leagues, you'll be able to get one or the other, either Jerick McKinnon or Isaiah Pacheco. So Kansas City is a good team, and the receiver picture is not clear there. All we know is Kelsey and Mahomes. You might as well take a dart throw. McKinnon is the guy who catches the passes. Pacheco's the guy who runs it. Maybe one of those guys will help you.
Okay, I have one. I have a stretch. Just a stretch. Kieran Williams, another Williams from the Rams, maybe as a flex player on weeks that there are buys, but he is someone to probably keep an eye out. He's probably getting the ball more, and he's a rookie. So
right, Kyron Williams. I had him stashed on my bench for weeks, and he finally is actually playing. He's not great, but that team is not great. So, I mean, he might be great if he was on a different team, but that's a guy who's definitely been getting more work lately.
Yeah, and another one too is just because teams knowing that they might be making it into the playoffs, so they might be resting a lot of their players. Isaiah Spiller from the Chargers. I'm not saying that Eckler is going to get a sit down, but what I noticed in last week's game is that if they're in the middle of the field, he's not really on the field. He's only on the field for like red zones and key opportunities where they want to really make a push. So. If you're looking for someone to at least get you some numbers, he might be someone to look at too. But it's really slim up there. So let's if you have anyone else.
Yeah, I think it has to be said, because before this was a very murky backfield full of a lot of not so great running backs. And one by one, they've all disappeared. One got injured. Some guys have been traded. Last week, Melvin Gordon fumbled on the goal line again. 5th fumble of the year, and they cut him pretty much on the spot. I think they might took his helmet away, and they might have let him finish the game like standing on the sideline. But then afterwards, when he went to his locker, they had taken his nameplate off. Like, really, really bad. Melvin Gordon, I don't understand what happened to him this year. It was a huge drop off, but he has been released. So the only running back in Denver, who we all hate to watch play, is Latavius Murray. They have one guy. They have Chase Edmonds. He's too hurt to play. Boone's not back yet. He's going to get all of the work. So maybe he'll see the end zone. If he doesn't see the end zone, he probably will get you around 10 points, I'm thinking, because there's really nobody else in Denver at all.
I've never liked Gordon as a running back due to the fact that his rookie year, he never scored a touchdown and he fumbled a lot. I'm not surprised that 8-10 years later in the league, someone just said, "You're done. You can't hold on to the rock." So it's too bad for him, but it's also like a statement on the team being like sometimes it is one person who contributes to multiple problems. If you don't perform in a job, then Latavius Murray is up there.
Yep.
If he's available, I know he was hot commodity about 4 weeks ago when he first joined the team. And you were mentioning like he should be getting some insurance on his knees because the O-line stinks.
Yeah.
And there's no blocking. So, if you do need a team that doesn't have a good offensive line maybe this is your man.
Right. No one needs that. Okay, let's move on to wide receivers. I was talking about my bad luck this weekend. So I had Rondale Moore starting in the Monday Nighter. He took the first snap on an end around, and he was tackled behind the line. He lost 6 yards and injured his groin. So I had him stashed for about 6 weeks, hoping that he would become a player. And for about 2 weeks, he was my solid number 2 wide receiver on my team. He turned out to be everything I wanted. Now I don't know if I'll see him again this season. So Dortch stepped in his place, and Dortch got a lot of work, and Dortch looks pretty good. So Greg Dortch is one guy that I would suggest people pick up.
I guess the buzz that people are talking about is the rookie Bork, Treylon Burks from Tennessee as well too. I think he's got probably the most notice of the week because they probably played on Thursday, so there's only everyone's eyeballs on him. So that could be a spot where you could spend your money at as well too. And obviously, he's probably the most hyped up person right now in fantasy for week 12.
Right. He's a rookie, a lot of potential. We didn't see him the first part of the year, so nobody really knew if he was.
He was injured for 8 weeks or something like that. So he was playing the first 2 games, got injured and sat, and then buys. That's what I saw, and I looked into him today.
Yeah, and
now he's back.
Yeah, he could really be something. I mean, that's a good team with all the other pieces are there, especially if Tannehill's going to be healthy now. Great defense, great running game, decent quarterback, and one guy to throw the ball to, and that's your guy, Burks. So I think that's a great suggestion. Another guy who's been coming on lately is Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's also available in a lot of leagues. I'm not a Cleveland person, the same way I'm not a Denver person. But he's productive. And so, in the spirit of trying to give people good advice, if you're desperate on a receiver pickup, I think Donovan Peoples-Jones from the Browns is a good pickup.
Yeah. He's and with Watson coming into play, he might get better numbers, especially those down threat balls. He seems to like to run and catch really deep balls. So it's good suggestion. I have one super stretch for you from Baltimore. Damarcus Robinson. He is someone also that's been picking up. These are not guys that I'm going to say putting you 1, 2, 3 spots going into a week with no buys, but someone to consider later on.
Yeah, I mean, Damarcus Robinson's turned into the guy there. I had Duvernay thinking that he was going to be the guy because he's so talented. They don't seem to be going to him much. They're going to your guy Robinson more. So he's, I had him too, and I think that's a great suggestion. I've got one more guy. Because Wan'Dale Robinson was finally having a good game, he had to blow out his ACL. So there's only one receiver left standing on that terrible field in New York. And at least for one more week, there's a guy you can look at, Darius Slayton, until he tears his ACL on that terrible field, which they are going to replace in the offseason, but that doesn't help the guys that are playing on it now.
A lot of talk about turf this past week.
Yeah, so Darius Slayton is my last suggestion for receivers. And then, as always, tight ends. It's just so barren. Okay.
Did we talk about Trey McBride last week from Arizona taking on Ertz? I believe we did.
Yeah, we did suggest that, and I still don't think it's a bad situation for him. It's just that the 49ers are so much better than the Cardinals, and that just he didn't do
the Cardinals with McCoy, not the Cardinals with Murray.
Well, are they? Yeah, I mean, are they better with Murray? I know there's more yelling.
Just more mobile. You're looking at a kid compared to like a senior in football,
right?
Age.
True. Okay, so you've talked about Juwan Johnson in the past. I thought he was sort of a touchdown vulture guy, and he didn't really do much else. But he's doing it consistently. He's scoring consistently. So I think as we circle back around looking for tight ends, I think the tight end from New Orleans, Johnson, I think his first name's Juwan. Anyways.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay. So Juwan Johnson, that would be a guy that maybe would help you. You got something?
No, that's it. I only was talking about Trey because of the situation. And like it's like crapshoot. You're gonna get under 10 points regardless if you on any tight end. It's a bucket of hammers, or bag of hammers.
Yeah. I mean, Austin Hooper scored twice last week for Tennessee, but hasn't been consistent. So I don't know if we can count on that. It's just sort of a random event.
And I think that's what happens with tight ends. You can get multiple players with 2 touchdowns on a game and then not do anything for 5 weeks, and then you just wasted your money or your time, and just stick with somebody that could. Just stick with the person you have. Go waste it on other people.
Yeah.
Go waste your waiver picks if there's a limit, or your money if you have to have money on other positions, and just keep with whoever you have on your bench. I'm never going to talk about tight ends for the rest of the season unless someone like spectacular goes down when you have.
Yeah, but it's just, I mean, let's say you've got a good team and you're going to make the playoffs, but you literally have nothing at tight end. Like what's the guy in Atlanta? He's blown his knee out. He's out for the season now. Pitts.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. You need somebody, especially if you're going to make the playoffs. So Logan Thomas is back for Washington.
He seems to be
injured the whole year. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even for the last 2 years. He shines and then he gets injured, and you wish you had him, and then you were like, "Oh shit, I got him," and now he's injured again.
Well, so the whole year he's just been injured. So the shine part is coming, maybe.
Maybe.
All right. So let's do. You want to do defense or kickers first?
Defense.
Okay, go ahead.
Just going with whoever's playing Houston.
Oh yeah,
the Dolphins.
That's not a bad idea.
The Dolphins. That was my strategy for the last 3 weeks. No buys this week, so you should have your starting defense out there.
Okay, and on that same theme, I would say whoever's playing the Rams, you can start them because they basically have nothing. And that's Kansas City this week, and they're available on a lot of waiver wires. They're not a popular defense. So there's our 2 suggestions for defense. And then for kicker, I'm going to go Brandon McManus.
That's who I had.
Yes, so that's the right one then. Okay, he's going to be available, and the reason is Denver can't score, and they're playing Carolina.
Yeah, I only had one person as well too, and he scored 17 points, and he can kick 50-yard field goals, so that's what you need out of a kicker.
There it is. Okay, my throat is shredded. I'm going to have to sign off. Thank you.
Thank you too, Sean, and good luck this week.
You too. Keep winning.
And stay healthy. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Fantasy Football Game Plan podcast. Need coaching on your lineup? Drop us a line and we'll discuss your dilemma.